In this lesson, we're going to learn how to apply all of the techniques we've currently covered up to this point to grow out the main ornate logo or the main ornate element. So here's where we left off, and you can open up 20 stroke complex object end. And so now we need to begin working on this tendril here. And as you can see, it's going to be a doozy of a project. So obviously we're going to need to use multiple layers. So let's first select it. Control-Shift-C to pre-comp this. Let's call this grow. Let's move inside of this pre-comp here, and let's begin working. So obviously, as we have with everything else, we'll start with the main limb. Let me just duplicate this layer to begin with so we don't have to keep deleting masks. So let's grab our pen tool, and let's begin right here where we want it to start moving, and then draw out our main limb. So we'll just need to draw this out. And I'm currently using the Bezier, but if you like the Roto mask easier, that's fine. And I'm actually going to draw this line on the outside edge of this, and we'll see why here in a minute. Of course, we can always come back and move it, but once that's done, as we have quite a few times, let's go to our effects and presets, drop on our stroke reveal, and let's actually make sure we do that at frame 0. There we go. All right, so we can hide our top, and now we have our main limb getting drawn out. So we can essentially not worry about this yet and work on filling in the rest of these. So as you can see, there's actually a few things we need to fill in for this main limb. And the first are these strokes here. So let's actually duplicate, or let's use our main limb duplicate 2, and let's say this is the main limb leaves. Alright, so now to finish this out, or to finish the main limb, we can just draw out a few different masks to draw out, or to create these leaves here. So I'm going to control left click to stop drawing, control left click and drag, control left click, and we're almost there. So again, on this one, we're going to use the multi-mask technique, which is the all masks. So let's just go back here and copy this stroke onto our leaves here. Let's turn it on. Let's turn on our stroke on both of these. Okay. So now we just need to time out the motion of these, and of course turn on all masks. Alright, so let's see when we want this to start. And since this is going to be a pretty ornate object, I'm going to actually pull out the base animation out to 2 seconds long, because I want this to kind of take its time. Alright, so let's figure out when we need to start drawing these. So it looks like right about here we need to begin drawing out the leaf. So here's our first, there's the second, there's the third, and there's the fourth. Let's just pull this back a little so we get the entire motion. And we need to actually increase or move this curve in a little bit, because we're getting a bit of it cut off. If you turn off the stroke, you'll notice that we're missing quite a bit of this. So we just need to come in and modify this curve so that it fits inside of it again. All right, let's turn this back on. Getting pretty close. We're still missing a little up here at the top, so we can control click this curve. All right, it's looking much better. Okay. So now we essentially have our first limb finished. So we have the main limb finished. And in this lesson, we used the multi-mask technique to actually create the leaves of this limb as well as the normal parts, or the main part. Okay, so now that that's done, we can begin working on the rest of this. So let's just start on the right here. I'm going to duplicate my main limb again. Let's unhide it. So we can draw this one out here. This is going to be a pretty simple one. Just want to draw it right down the middle. Okie dokie. And now on this, we can again put the exact same stroke on it. So we can just copy and paste it. And this will give us the drawing on of this main limb. Might need to edit the animation timing of this a little bit. So let's see. So obviously we want this to jump in a little bit faster here. So we'll just drag the right keyframe to the left. And as you can see, we have a little reveal problem. So let's just control click and drag that curve so we no longer have that. Okay. So now we have this small limb. And let's do the stroke test where we turn it on and off. All right, looks like we got it. All right, so now let's do this secondary limb again. So I'm going to grab the small limb here and just hit the U key to hide them. And let's turn on this stroke, copy it to our main limb again. And let's call this our bottom limb. And we're probably just going to be doing very similar to what we have up until this point, which is just grabbing our pen tool and drawing out a mask path. So as you can see, parts of this are pretty tedious and repetitive, but as I've said before, it's kind of necessary to get this kind of an effect. All right, so now that we have that mask on, we can set the path to mask 1, press U to check the animation, and we want it to begin drawing a little earlier, so we want it to begin drawing right about there. So we can set that key there. Of course, we want it to end a little bit sooner as well. Now you'll notice that we just introduced a little artifact there, so we can move this down to the right. Take a look at it drawing in. Okay, looking pretty good, looking pretty good. All right, let's do the stroke test. You can see we're missing a little bit here, so we can just increase our brush size or move this. Now we'll need to increase our brush size. We want to be careful though, because we want to keep all that detail, but we don't want to reveal anything we don't need. So we just need to modify that path a little bit. And we've reintroduced this artifact here, but we're going to actually be revealing this on before we get to that point. So that's going to be fine. And let's actually check what this is. Okay, so we started our small limb a little bit too early. So let's pull that forward. Let's check that. All right, that's looking better. So as you, I'm sure just saw, we always need to zoom out and scrub through the animation to make sure we're not introducing any problems. And looking through this, it's looking very nice. Okay, so in this lesson, we learned how we can begin working on this ornate element. So we're just going to be breaking this into pieces and kind of tackling this bit by bit. So in the next lesson, we'll continue creating layers and drawing out paths and changing keyframes.